Hey everyone, welcome to the Mindset Playground, where you're going to get your daily dose of positivity. And I'm your host, Luann Hunt. And I'm so glad that you've joined me here today because I have such a fun guest. And I can't wait for you to get to know her. So, her name is Lisa. So, welcome to the Mindset Playground, Lisa. How are you doing today?
Good. How about yourself, Luann?
Well, I'm doing great. So I'm so excited that you've decided to come and play with me on the Mindset Playground because your background is all about playing in the big field of mindset and all kinds of things that we're going to talk about today. So, what is it that you do in a nutshell? And then we'll break it down.
Yes, sure. Well, what I do is I like to combine play, humor, gamification, but I do that through that's basically the methods that I use. But what I'm doing is helping productivity and profits. So,
Okay. And that's
yeah.
now, did you always want to do this or did you just like wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a playmaster? Is that what you're called? The playmaster.
Well, I like that title. Not exactly, but yes. I mean, if you want to call me that, that's fine. But what happened was through my childhood, I was always playing games. So my favorite game was Miss Pac-Man, and I played that when I was a kid. And I found that I was using the methodology of playing to solve problems. So that's basically what I'm doing now is I help teams and companies take complex problems and find solutions for them. So, but I'm helping them solve it. And a lot of times I'm helping them with playing a game or do improv comedy or we're doing some sort of fun activities that they can then process the issue and make it more simplified, if that makes any sense. So when I was little, that's how I was always solving problems, but it didn't happen until later in life. Like I went to school to be a dietitian and I was finding that I was still doing the same. I was still making nutrition fun. So I would make up these games to help my clients learn different things. And then as I moved on, one of my first jobs is I worked at the school district of Philadelphia and I was in charge of training 1,000 employees. And for people that know about learning and development and training, that's a lot. That's a lot of responsibility because you have to be entertaining. Like people get bored, like you'd have people sleeping, like if you have all day trainings. So I would have to come up with these unique and different games to kind of entertain them or different methodologies during that to kind of make the learning fun. So that's kind of where it really got ingrained, where I started combining these things and then when I was teaching at a university, my students just kept saying, "You're funny. You should go do stand-up comedy." So I said, "Challenge accepted." And then I enrolled in like one of those weekend stand-up comedy classes. And before you know it, I had like this agent and I was performing on the weekends. And it was just a lot of fun. And then I'm still being a dietitian on the side though, right? And then I said, how can I combine all of my passions together and make it into like a full-time thing because this is what I do. Like this is my passion. I want to serve people with what I have. And that's where I kind of combined all three things into like one package. But it all boils down to play if you think about it because it's all just fun. Yeah.
Right. So you got this idea of just like from the games that you used to play and bring it to the people so that it can basically bring us back to our childhood, right? You
Yeah,
find
pretty
that,
much like you're your
yeah,
child.
yes, that's
I mean,
so
a lot of times
great.
people think that play is just fluff, but it really isn't. It's fuel. And I believe that we do our best work when we stop trying to perform and start showing up as whole humans. So I think that's what really kind of makes it, the whole everything about play. Play is a strategy to me.
Yeah, that's great. And so, how long did it take you to kind of get into that whole groove of, like just getting everything put together? And then from there, you ended up in stand-up comedy. That's great. And how was that as far as, how did that lead into the stand-up comedy part?
Oh, the stand-up comedy part, like I think is really just my students. Like at the when I was teaching as an adjunct professor, like they just kept writing on my evaluations funny. And then I would have them like say, like I would like be in class and I would just think of these jokes and I would, but then I would also play games with them to help them learn things, different concepts, and help the concepts stick. So I think it was through that. And they just kept saying it. It was kind of like if you hear somebody keep telling you something, you're like, maybe I should go do that. So I heard it so many times that I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see if this is any has any validity. And that's what I did. So because I'm always about play. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go play over here. I'm going to go play in stand-up comedy for a bit. So it was definitely the first time I went and did it, it was very intimidating. But then as I got up on stage and got more reps in, it's just like with anything, you practice, right? So that's what happened. And then I was like, I love this.
And I'm sure, I'm guessing, but I'm sure that you're going to explain it how the two kind of helped each other, correct? Like now that you've got this background speaking in front of people and, showing your talents as far as comedy goes, I'm sure that it just kind of helped you marry the two together.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I was doing the speaking and the training first before the comedy. And but it's kind of a different animal. Because so with the speaking and training, if I'm in front of a group, I wasn't trying to be funny. Like I wasn't trying to get a laugh every couple of seconds type thing. Whereas like it would just happen naturally. And that's what was different about the comedy piece because when you're getting up on stage, you're like, how many laughs per minute do I have? Like you want them to be laughing. Whereas if you're in a training, you want them to be laughing, but not like as much as if you were doing a stand-up comedy set. So it's a little bit more intimidating because you're trying to get them. Like I was doing it on purpose this time versus before I was just kind of just being me. It was me being authentically funny, if you will.
And tell me about that because, like, how did that kind of make you feel when you were in front of that audience? And what would happen to you as far as mindset goes? Did you have to like do anything to build yourself up to an actual show? Or how did you handle that? And then what if nobody laughed?
Well, I think sometimes you can't always, I mean, when I was doing stand-up comedy back when I was doing like every weekend, that kind of thing, you hope that they laugh, but you can't expect that they always will because you could literally perform the same set at a club that was 5 minutes away from another club and go to the second club. Like, say you go to the first club, you perform your set, you kill it, everybody's laughing. You're like, I'm like, this stuff's so great. Like, I'm doing so good. And then you hop on down to the second club and you don't get as many laughs. It's a totally different crowd. So you can't predict, you just have to keep it's basically with anything like the whole A/B testing thing, the testing of your material. You should always put it in front of audiences before, and that's kind of like we can use like a great comedian like Jerry Seinfeld, right? Like he tested his stuff. There was a whole like I think they did put it into like a movie about it or a documentary or something where he was traveling. This was after he was already famous, and he went and he's like, I need new material, so he had to go test it for a whole year. It's Jerry Seinfeld. Like you wouldn't think that Jerry Seinfeld would be testing his stuff, but that's what he was doing for a whole year before he put it out. So he was in
Really?
different comedy clubs testing it. And any professional, whether you're a speaker or a consultant offering programs or a comedian, test your stuff. Like everybody's testing their things. Like, it's
Yeah.
good to have a focus group and test your, like I invite, like I call it an invited rehearsal. Like if I have a new speech coming up, I'll have an invited rehearsal, invite 20 speakers to come listen to me and give me feedback.
Right. So any
So
project really, when you think about it, any project that you're working on, whether it's courses or perhaps maybe a new app, who knows? And
yes.
yeah, you're right. It's smart to it's one of the first things that they teach you is you need to have the people to test it and just give you feedback so that you can improve on it.
Yeah. Or beta. Like I have a couple of like especially with your app, like beta. I think beta is a great, like, invite people, like, I'm going to be selling this app for X amount of dollars. Like, I'll give it to you in beta for this price. And can you give me feedback? Like, people jump at that opportunity to first test something and
Yeah,
provide feedback and be a case study about something that's going to change lives. So yes, beta testing and just testing in general. I'm all
right.
for it.
Yeah. So am I. I love that. And now, okay, so now I see that you did a TED Talk or TEDx. I know I was told one time that you have to make sure that you say the
Oh
right
yes,
thing.
not the
So,
TED. I would love the opportunity to be called up to TED, but not yet. I've done two TEDx's so far, and I'm doing a third one in September. So
okay. So how did you get
yeah.
involved with TEDx?
TEDx. Well, the first one I was involved with this, so I meet these groups every week. They're more like, we come together. It's like community groups that I've met over the years, like speaker friends. Like, I have a group with them. I have a group of comedians that I met during the pandemic. Because you remember during the pandemic when everybody was in Zoom rooms together. Well, through those Zoom rooms, over the years, I've met friends that like do like-minded things. So we just decided to continue our calls on a weekly basis. So I have one speaker group I meet with, who a lot of times the group together will work on new TEDx's or new speeches. And then I have a comedy group where we bounce off comedy ideas and practice and do like maybe a set that we're working on or some fun idea. So the TEDx came up through one of those groups. So one of the ladies that was in the group knew somebody else that was putting on a women only TEDx. And she said, she's looking for people to apply. So I heard about that one, but you can just go on the website and there's so many to apply to on a daily basis.
Now, have you set one up yourself?
I've never set one up. No, it is a lot of work. And I commend everybody who takes on that responsibility because they do a fantastic job, but so many moving pieces. It's on my list to do one day, but just not right now.
Right.
And if I set one up, I can't speak at it. So I couldn't speak at the one that I'm going to speak at in September.
Ah, okay. Well, that makes
Yeah.
sense because that's on
Yeah.
my list too. So that's why I
Yeah.
wondered. Oh, that's great. Good to know. So that's
Yeah. And there's
information.
right now, I just saw, Luann, if you're interested, there is a TED call one for the TED stage. So they have different locations. I think there's a location in Canada, there's a location in Chicago, like all across the world where it's like a, they're looking for that just go right to TED versus TEDx.
Oh, now what would you recommend since you've done the TEDx?
Well, I mean, if I didn't, I looked at the dates. The one that would be applicable to me would be the one in Chicago, but it's on the same day that I'm doing my TEDx, so I didn't even apply.
Oh,
But I can send you the link if you're interested.
oh, well, that's great. I just wondered kind of what the steps are because, somebody could be listening to this podcast, as you know, and they could say, oh, geez, I've always wanted to do that. So,
Yes, well, great question. And one of the steps is to look on the website because there's application dates that they change all the time, but there's always one that you can apply to. So I guess the first step would be thinking, okay, if you want to do a TEDx, what is your big idea?
mm-hmm.
And if you can narrow down your big idea, then what I suggest doing after you figure out this is my big idea, or I know what my big idea is, go on to Google and just type in your big idea and see if it and type in your big idea, and then you can kind of search TEDx's to see if anybody else has talked about that subject. Or if you have a big idea, think about what would I title my big idea and search for that and see if that comes up on anything. Because a lot of times you'll kind of see, and it doesn't mean that you can't talk about it. You just have to have a different spin to it.
Well, that's good to know. And then how long are these? Do you know?
Yeah. So it just depends on the organizer. So the first one I did, I was around, I think that one was a little over 12 minutes. The second one I did was about the same time. The one I'm coming up to now is between 12 and 18 minutes.
Oh, wow.
September. I'm not sure where mine's going to be. Well, actually, to be honest, I wrote a draft, and my draft is only at 11 minutes. So I need to probably slow down my pace and or add a little content. Depends. I'm going to have to start practicing it to see where I land.
Wow, that's so much work, but it's worth it, right? When you have a
Yes.
goal, it's worth it. It's worth the work. There you go.
Well, I think
So,
you're, I mean, the end result is you're getting a message from your heart out into the world. And I think that's really important because if it just resonates with one person, then your job is done. But usually with TEDx's, if you're promoting them, more people see them. And then it inspires somebody else to maybe do their own TEDx or to learn something from what you're sharing.
which is so important because it all comes back to what it is that you and I do as far as,
Yes.
the presentations, as far as the speaking engagements and even the consulting, one-on-one consulting or group consulting, then it is important to have that information as well so that you can carry on with what you really want to do, what your passion is,
Yes.
your true passion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then over like the lessons I've learned over like doing what, almost three of them so far. I'll say almost three because that one, the third one's booked, is like like it's just such a world of difference from doing the first one to where I'm at now. So it's
Oh,
just
I bet.
interesting to kind of like the lessons that you learn along the way. And if I can impart anything on anybody is to really have that idea fleshed out and just like to practice it so much that it's in your bones when you're delivering it and make sure it's not just coming from your head, it comes from your heart too. So I think that that's really important for the authenticity and how it lands with an audience.
Well, that's great. So now you got into the presentation portion of it as far as going into, is it corporations that you went into or that you're going into now? Corporations
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
okay. So you were teaching at different schools at the school level and now you've kind of graduated to corporations.
Yeah. Graduated. Did I graduate? I didn't get a diploma or anything, but
Ah,
yes. So yes, I left the training when I was at the school district, and then I went to train at another company, like a corporation. So when I left that other company, that's when I went out on my own, and I was like, well, I can take this whole learning and development training, speaking stuff, and make this a business. So that's kind of what my path was after that. I decided I didn't want to work for anybody else,
no,
like
that's
another
great.
full-time corporation, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So let's talk about your presentations. I know that you said it's all about gameplay, so let's talk about that.
Okay. Yeah, so I have a couple that I do. It depends on what the needs of the client are, but I know right now wellness and resilience and that kind of stuff is a really big. So a lot what I'm being called for now a lot of the times is that resilience piece, and that's what my second TEDx was actually about. But I also have a speech topic on the same thing, but it's basically how to thrive through play in stressful times. So it talks about using play but also being resilient while you're doing it. So I combine both themes, but I guess that would be fall under mindset as well and health and wellness.
And what's your favorite?
My favorite is the one where I play a game, actually. Like
Where
I
you
have this
actually play a
full-fledged
game.
game. I play a game through the presentation. Yeah, it's kind of cool. But technically, I play like a smaller game and the other two, it's just not as big. Like the first one that I do, which is on relationship building, negotiation, and communication skills, it it goes in like a little game format. So each part of that puzzle is filled up, but they go around a game board. So the audience members have a game board that they're holding while I'm going through the speech. So it kind of makes it fun and entertaining.
So it's almost like a bingo card. So you just kind of mark off the
Yeah, like we'll go through each section and then there's little activities in the section. And I'm excited because that's the one I'm getting ready to do in September. And I'm like reformulating the game. So I'm making some changes to it. And that's what I find too, Luann, is a lot of this stuff that we do, and you probably have the same experience, is you do it and we're getting the practice in, the repetition in of it. And if you compare that same speech or whatever you're working on to what it looked like, I don't know, even a month ago, 2 months ago, a year ago, it's like, wait a minute, you don't even recognize it because it has changed so much just from that original. Because you get in this groove and you're like, wait, this will be good here. How about that? And then you find like an audience member that really reacts to something and you're like, okay, I'm going to like expand this section. And that's the part I call it, as it's almost like you're continuing and playing through it. And that's the part that I think is fun and exciting.
So
It's and
what
it's
type?
the you're because you're in the middle of the growth, right?
Yeah, I like that a lot. So what types of games would we recognize some of these games, or are they based on any
Yeah,
certain?
so a lot of times like in my talks and my what I when I work through with clients is I will take like I'll say to somebody like what's your favorite game? And they'll say Monopoly. And I'll be like, okay, so we're going to, and then I'll ask somebody else, what's your favorite game? And they'll say, Shoots and Ladders. I'm just making stuff up right now. And then
No,
I
that's okay.
find a way to kind of m- mix and match the best of different games and put them together. And even encourage my the people that I'm working with to come up with their own game. So I've had a couple of clients that were like, okay, like challenge accepted. Like we're going to come up with our own game that we use, and then they make up a name for it. Like they get all into it because then they feel like this ownership in it, and the employees are invested in it too, right? And then they want to do it. They're like, oh, we have our own game, and it's like named after like their company name or something, and they're like, they think it's really cool, and they came up with it. So it's not. I don't want it to be my idea. I want it to be theirs. I want them to have ownership and stake in it because if they have more ownership, more stake in it, they're more apt to follow through on it. And that's where we see that change. And that's really
Right.
what I'm there for, right? So I'm there because I'm building the trust with them. I'm showing them empathy. I'm having fun with them. But at the end, when you see that change, and you know this, the transformation, that's when you're like, aha, that's it.
And it's so cool knowing that you're the one who helped them do that. That's
Yeah, but
the
I'm like,
best
it's
part.
you. It's all you. It's not me. It's you. And they're all happy, right? Like, and the client says, great job, but it's really them that did it. I was just a facilitator.
There's just something about the audience being their own heroes rather
Mhm.
than, us being the lecturer,
Yes.
right?
That's boring, right? If you're just going to listen to somebody, that's when, I mean, you know this, Luann, that's when you'll have people that are so checked out. They're looking on their phone. I don't want anybody looking on their phone unless they're looking on a phone trying to fill out my survey at the end,
Yeah.
whenever I do it.
Right, absolutely. And that is really difficult to do nowadays.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
but I think like I'm a true believer in changing, and this is back from my old training days, changing up your method every 8 to 10 minutes. Because if you're just lecturing them, they're going to get bored. You can't hear somebody talk past that's why even like if you ask me a question, I'm going to try not to go on too long with my answer because they don't want to hear me talk. They want to hear what you're going to say next.
What I'm going to ask next.
What are you
Yeah.
going to ask? Yeah, what are you going to say? Like you're going to ask me something. Or
Yeah.
maybe you have a comment. I don't know.
Well, I think it's great. How's that?
Yeah. But they want to hear from you. They want to hear what's Luann going to do now?
So it's almost like a ping pong game, right? Or tennis
Yes.
match. There you go.
It's a
So,
conversation. I think at the end of the day, people forget that it's a conversation.
right. And
It's
that's
an
so
exchange
important.
of information. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, no, that's okay. And that's so important nowadays is people need to have a conversation. You know,
Yes.
yes, and not well, I shouldn't say it like that, but not the scripted questions.
No, no scripted questions. Let's throw them out the window.
When I first started this podcast, I had scripted questions because I had no clue, what to do or what to say. Whereas now it's just free flow. You talk about you, and I just want to know these things, and I'm hoping that what I'm asking are questions that people want to know? Down to earth people who are listening to this podcast and they say, wow, I never thought of that. Or, oh, she asked that question. I kind of wondered that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
kind of wonder.
yes. So, what's next? Are you going to talk to me about what's your plan next? I know you're going for a TEDx talk and you're still doing these corporate presentations, which is great. So I love the whole idea of it. It's perfect for the playground. And what's next? Are you working on some books or what are you doing?
Oh, so I decided, and I don't know. Well, I do have a backstory, a quick backstory. I'm not going to belabor. We had and it was an accident. Like we had this fire in the beginning of December where we had to move out of our house. There was something going on with the fireplace we didn't know about, and it caused the fire. And then they came and put it out, but it did some damage, like mostly smoke damage. So they basically said, you have to move out of your house. We're going to clean it up and then we'll let you know when you can move back. We ended up not moving back on our house for like, I don't know, it was like almost 4 months later, right?
Okay.
And during that time, I was like, I feel like it made you question, or maybe this is what happened to me. Like anytime you have kind of like something like that happen, something major like that happen, I said, oh, I have this bucket list of things to do, right? And I'm like, I'm going to look on my bucket list. I feel like I need to do something big in 2025. And one of the things on my list that I've always wanted to do is write my own movie. So I wanted to write it. I wanted to do the script. I wanted to then direct it. Like I had this whole thing. And I was like, yeah, I just had it on my list. Like one of those things that you realize you may never do. But I was like, I went on the list and I picked the biggest thing, and that was the biggest thing that I wanted to do. And I was like, it's now or never. So I made this schedule up of every month from January to December of that, like in 2025, I would give myself ways to meet that goal. So by the end of the year in December, I would have a script completed, and then I could, do whatever I want with it. Do I make the movie? Do I try to sell the script? Like, I don't know what's going to happen with it. But I'm so far on track, and I'm going to be having table reads for my movie at the end of August. So,
Wow. That's great.
yeah,
Now,
yeah.
what is
So,
involved in a table read?
well, it's just basically I'm going to have it on Zoom. Like, typically, you would have a table read where you invite people to some sort of office, but I'm not Hollywood. So it's just me doing it. So I just invited people on a Zoom, and in each table read, I'm going to have about 15 people, and they're just going to come on. And I've got a couple of actor friends and then some comedians that are going to do the roles. And they're just going to read the script. And then I'm going to have the people that are there listening to the table read give me feedback. So then I can go back to my script and make changes to it before I put it up anywhere.
So, what type of format is it? Is it a comedy? Is it something serious
Oh,
or
let me ask you, what do you think it is? If you had to guess,
probably a comedy?
you're right. It is.
That's great. Well, if you have a lot of comedy friends who are actually going to be part of it, that would make sense.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's great. That's just the whole, getting out there, setting that goal and getting that goal accomplished. And how great do you feel about that?
yeah. And that's really my advice. Like for anybody listening, if there's anything, whether it's just on your regular to-do list or bucket list, if you can break anything down into manageable steps, but map it out over a course of a year. Because I think a lot of us, and I know I'm guilty of this myself, is I will have these big audacious goals, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to finish that in 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks comes, I haven't even started. So that's where you can kind of, and I know we're at the mindset playground, Luann. So
Yes.
mindset wise, I think it's really good to set out that 12-month calendar with how am I going to get there, but writing the steps down of what you would do step by step. And that's what's really helped me to actually do it. Because any other time when I haven't done that, I've not gotten to my goal.
Absolutely. And that's so true. And I've had so many of my mentors who I've actually interviewed through the Mindset Playground who have said, set that goal and just do it in small chunks. What can I do today to work towards that goal? So, yeah, it is important.
Yes.
So, speaking of which, I always ask my guests before the end of a show, um, three golden nuggets that you want to leave the audience with. Do you have three golden nuggets? It could be about anything.
Yes, three golden nuggets. Well, number one, I would say, is go after your dreams and nothing is too big. You can do anything you want to do once you put your mind to it. And the second thing is just check out the TEDx website, because I know there's probably a lot of people listening that want to do a TEDx. So check it out. And yes, it can be you. A lot of people think, oh, I'm not going to get chosen. Yes, you may. So, and then the third thing that I want to say is play every day. And that's one of my biggest messages, because revisit your 5-year-old inner child, because that person lives inside you and wants to come out to play every day. So.
Oh, I really like that. That's wonderful. And I'm so excited that you stopped by the playground and played with me today. So I hope you'll come back sometime and we'll catch up
Yeah,
with
of
you
course.
again. Yeah. Thanks
Yes.
so much, Lisa.
Thanks for having me on, Luann.
Don't forget to visit my website at luannhunt.ca, where you're going to find information about all of the past and upcoming Mindset Playground shows, along with signing up for a monthly newsletter where I can send you information from the playground and learn all about the programs that I have available to make you a better person. I can't wait to see you there.